This is Carl at National RV Detroit. I'm going to walk us through this 2022 Flagstaff Lite trailer, model number 25BRDS. I'm just going to show you some of the features and how they work, okay? We just have crank down stabilizer jacks, of course. This is a hookup for a sprayer. This is your outside kitchen. The thing to know about this is that there's a LP quick connect right here, if you can see that. Quick connect fitting. Now if I can open this, we'll be all set. There we go. So this is a 2-burner cooktop here. Underneath here is an LP hose. The LP hose connects into that quick connect fitting, so you have gas to the appliance. Also, there's another one right here, another quick connect right down here. Right. That's because you can set your grill, or in this case a griddle, right on here, and plug that in, so you got a whole griddle cooktop. Plus, there's a table that can hang right next to it for workspace. Okay. Also, keep in mind that this is a TV mounting bracket, and you got signal out and power there for a TV. You got a power awning with a LED strip, outside speakers. Now this device here is a range hood vent, so if you're going to use the range hood fan, you got to push up on these tabs underneath so the baffle will flap freely. And when you're venting to the outside, you always want it to flap freely, otherwise you want to push it and snap it shut when you're traveling, that sort of thing. Alright, your water heater, the controls are inside. I just want to show you that this is the anode rod / drain plug. It's an 1 1/16 socket. It screws right in there. That's where you drain it at. So you need to have an 1 1/16 6-point socket plus about a 6-inch extension plus a breaker or a ratchet, so you can remove the drain plug if you need to drain the water heater. So that's an important thing to have with you. Okay. The switches are inside. I'll show you that when we get in there. You're going to have a Husky centerline weight distribution hitch with built-in sway control, which is right there. We'll show you how that works. There's your griddle back there. This is the tabletop and your rack. Of course, your hitch parts. This is a 3/4-inch crank that you would use on the stabilizers. Okay. This crank here, which is a little different, it's got a cylinder with a slot cut in it, if you can see that, hopefully. Well, that's to crank the slide out in an emergency. I'm not going to lift the stairs so you can see, but right here there's a little port there. Well, if you look on the other side, there's a, I don't know if you can see it that way or not, but there's a shaft with a pin through it. If you hook that crank to that shaft with a pin through it and crank it, the slide room will go in and out manually. It takes a lot of cranking, but it can get you out of trouble. So also, with your power tongue jack, you got a hitch light plus up and down, but if you pull this cap right here, you can actually crank it manually. Let me see where right here. So this is the crank right here for your power tongue jack. Okay. Also, that's your dump hose. That's a reducer for your shore cord. Okay. You got 2 30-pound LP tanks and 2 deep cycle marine batteries that are wired together at 12 volts. So although there's 2 batteries, it's still 12 volts. It just doubles the storage capacity. That's because you have an inverter on this trailer, also solar panels. So I'll get more on that when we get inside. And right there, if you can see it, that's the kill switch for your battery if you ever want to disconnect it. Okay? Alright, so your slide out's in right now, of course. This is your water hookup here. I missed it on the other side here. This is the city water hookup right here. Let me go back over to the other side. See what I missed. Or where I missed it at, for that matter. Let me look around here. It's got to be close. I guess it's probably over on the other side. We're at the front of the trailer. Yes, there it is. I'm sorry. So this is you know, the most commonly used city water hookup. You just hook up the hose on, turn on the tap, and you're ready to go. But if you go to a campground, something more rustic maybe that does not have plumbing on the campsites, you can pre-fill your fresh water tank right here, and then you can use the onboard pump to pump water. Everything will work just like as if you have city water, even if you don't. But if you do have city water, you're going to hook it up right here, okay? So you got two options. Also, this is cable and satellite through. This port right here, this attachment, is to winterize the trailer. So you have to educate yourself a bit on that, but that's where you would draw the antifreeze into the trailer with your water pump, okay? This is a black tank flush. You can see you've got your black tank valve there, toilet water and waste. You got your gray tank valve there, sink and shower water. So you always dump the black first, of course, because it's the dirtiest water. Then you dump the gray to kind of wash it out. Then if you leave your black valve open, you can hook your hose here at the dump station, turn it on, and it'll spray out the inside of your tank, your black tank. So it cleans, it flushes out your black tank, it cleans off the sensors. This is just an outside shower. That's your shore cord, 30 feet long, 30 amp. Like I stated, we give you a reducer, so you can reduce it down to a regular 20 amp. Also, this housing tells us we're pre-wired for a backup camera. Also, the manufacturer states you should inspect your roof every 90 days. And you have a ladder here, which makes it real convenient. You just go up there, check all the sealant out, make sure there's no crack or separation where water can get in. Make sure none of the roof attachments or the roofing material were damaged by low branches or road debris flipping up there or anything like that. If you see an issue, you take care of it immediately, but you need to inspect it every 90 days. And people generally don't inspect the roof enough, so it's an important thing to do. Okay? All right. If you inspect your roof and keep the sealant up to date, in good shape, this thing will be bone dry 20 years from now, and that's a fact. Okay, so here we are inside. The slide out is in, of course, so let's send it out. What do we got here? Whoops, wrong way. There we go. So there goes your slide out. When it starts ratcheting, you just take your finger off the button. You'll know that that's all the way extended or retracted when it does that. Right there. Okay, so the other switch here is for the awning, the power awning. Of course, never leave the power awning out unattended. You always want to, you know, if you're not going to be at the campsite, you want to roll it in. Okay, I'm trying to get some light here. Let me look around and see where the best... Oh, back behind me. Okay, let me get over here and just turn on the lights. Back here, if I can find them. There we go. There we go. Okay, that's better. Okay, so those are your slide room and your power awning. Of course, these are all lights here. Interior porch light, awning light, and your step light. You have your tank heaters. This trailer has tank heaters, so it extends the camping season by keeping your tanks from freezing up. You have to turn your water heater on electric, you do this. Never run the water heater without water in it. Always make sure there's water in it. Right now it's empty. You can light it on gas this way. You can turn on your water pump here. You use that to, like I stated earlier, to pump water out of the fresh water tank or to winterize the trailer. And then you have this Wi-Fi Ranger here. Okay, so the Wi-Fi Ranger is a signal booster for public Wi-Fi. What you'll do is you and your family's phones, you look into the Wi-Fi section and you'll see 1010-2204. That's what the name of your Wi-Fi Ranger is. So you'll be able to see that. You can add a password, a common password into all those, so it'll hook up automatically. Then if you go to the bottom line here, it says control panel. You type this address in a browser, right there. You type it in a browser, and then you use this temporary password, which is the middle line, to get log on. Of course, you're going to make up your own password, but that's the temporary one. And basically, when you do that, you'll be able to see everything the Wi-Fi Ranger sees. So the Wi-Fi Ranger will pick out the campground Wi-Fi, for example, and you would log on to that. So basically, all your devices hook up to the Wi-Fi Ranger automatically, and then when you get to each spot, you'll go to your browser, go to this address with your browser, log in, and then pick out the Wi-Fi that you want to use. Okay, it's a great signal booster. It's up on the roof, so it's a good product. Period. Now there's also a function where you can have cellular service through it, but that's something you have to go to your whoever your cellular provider is, that sort of thing. There's a monthly fee. Most people, unless they're working from their trailer, just use the public Wi-Fi booster. Okay. Also, one last thing. This has an app, this control panel, and that's how you get to the app. There's a password and that sort of thing. Also, your battery, like you see, is charged. Fresh water is empty, black is empty, gray is empty. Graduates up in 1/3 increments as the tanks fill. When you get to 2/3, you got to start thinking about dumping your black and gray tanks. Okay. So, sound. You can play CDs and DVDs right there. You can USB right here. You have Bluetooth, so you can hook up wirelessly with your phone or tablet and stream through it. Also, this HDMI here is an in, so you can go into the system that way. Let's say you have a game machine or something. You can go right into the system, right, through that with this HDMI. Also, you got AM/FM radio. You got 2 speaker zones. 1 and 2 are actually the same speaker zone, right, because they just sort of split them up. Zone 3 is outside. Z3 is zone 3. So zone 3 is outside. The reason you have this button here is because you can set the source and the volume for the speakers outside separate from what's inside. So you could be watching a video inside and someone else could be outside listening to the radio. When you set this stuff normally, you just set it. But when you want to set zone 3, which is outside, like I stated, you would push the zone 3 button, and then it'll allow you to pick the source and the volume. Okay, hopefully that made sense to you. Other than that, it's all mostly self-explanatory. You can program stations, the clock, everything that you would normally be able to do. But like I said, you got Bluetooth, you got AM/FM radio, you got discs, you got a lot of stuff. All right, so this device at the bottom here, if we can see it, is, let me get my flashlight a little bit so we can see it. Hopefully, that's not bad. So this is your control center for your solar panel. All right. Basically, the type of battery is set. It says flooded, which is what you have. So you don't have to pay attention to A, really. You're just going to push B. B, there's only one battery, right? Because even though there's 2 batteries in there, it's wired together at 12 volts, and so this thing considers it one battery. All right, so you push B, and we'll get to, you've got 100% charged. I want to start that again. You got 100% charge. Right now you're putting out 13.9 volts from your batteries, which is perfect. Push it again. You're gaining 4.6 amps from the solar panel. So you can see the picture of the sun pointed towards the solar panel. This is 4.6 amps. Right now the solar panels are gaining 4.6 amps from the sun and sending it to your batteries for storage. Okay. If you push it again, you get amp hour. Up, you get 100% charged, and then you get amp hours right there, right? So it just lets you know what's happening with your batteries and with the solar panel. Okay. Also, you can charge, like if your phone was dead and you had big problems or something, you could plug your charger right into there, and then you could actually charge your phone with using the solar panel, for example. Okay. All right. So that's that. Now, I mentioned inversion when I was outside. This is the button for your inverter. Inversion is turning DC power to AC power. So it takes 100 let me see. It takes 12 volts DC and it inverts it to 110 AC. You see, I just turned it on, so now it's inverting. Only one socket in here it inverts. It's this one right here. You can see it says inverted power right there. So basically what you're doing, you're taking your 12 volts. This is if you don't have AC power at all. You're out in the middle of nowhere. From your 12 volt batteries, it'll take the 12 volt DC, convert it to 110 AC, and send it to this plug. So you could put a hair dryer in there, a coffee pot, whatever you had, appliance you had to, you can invert it right there, if that makes sense to you. So you can actually run an AC appliance off of your batteries. So that's what inversion is. But always shut this off. You never want to invert unless you're, I mean, you never want the inverter on unless you're inverting so you can use the power. You just don't run it, you know. You just don't run it unless you're going to use it. Now this device here is a power converter. This does the opposite. It goes from AC to DC. So when you're plugged in, this side is the AC side, so you got circuit breakers just like you'd see at home, right? They're all labeled, 110 AC, and then you go to 12 volt DC over here. You got 12 volt fuses, and they're all labeled right here, so that's 12 volt. So it's converting 110 AC to 12 volt DC. Then the 12 volts are going to charge the battery, right? Because this thing is a battery tender. So it's charging the battery when you're plugged in to AC power. It's charging the 12 volt battery. Then the power is coming from the 12 volt battery, for example, and it's running your 12 volt refrigerator. Okay, so when you're pulling it down the road, obviously you're not plugged into power, so you can't convert any power. So what it does is it takes the 12 volts from your battery up front. The battery is gaining power from the solar panels, plus it will be being charged by the tow vehicle's alternator, right? So your it's not focusing right here. I'm kind of, oh, there it goes. So you're using your tow vehicle's alternator to charge the batteries. The battery's sending power to the refrigerator, for example, which runs on 12 volts. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So it's a battery tender, plus it converts AC to DC power. Okay, hopefully that makes sense to you. Like I said, it's 12 volt DC refrigerator. This is the range hood, and this is the fan I told you about. Remember, you always want to open the baffle on the outside if you're venting. It also has a light. Microwave works like any other microwave. This is the same as this range is the same as just about every other trailer range. You spark it by turning this clockwise, so you can just go like so and light the burner. Okay. For the oven, there's a pilot light at the bottom all the way to the back. Maybe I can spark it for you. There it goes. You want to light that pilot light, so you go to the oven knob, which is all the way to the right. Go to the picture of the flame, depress it, keep it depressed, spark it by turning this clockwise until the pilot light lights. Still holding this in. After it lights, you hold it for another 10 seconds or so. Go to the operating temperature, and you're all set. It runs cycles like an oven does. When you shut it off, the flame goes out, but so does the pilot light. So you have to relight the pilot light each time you use the oven. Okay. These are your remotes, your TV remote, and your radio remote, of course. This is a carbon monoxide and LP gas detector. It should always be green. If not, get it serviced. If it goes off, take everybody outside and figure out what's going on. Shut the gas off. Also, if it beeps very slowly, it's telling you that your battery's low. So I'll just set it off here. LP test is good. Carbon monoxide coming up. Good. Now with the low battery alarm. And back to green. Okay, it should always be green. Your thermostat is analog. It's very self-explanatory. Always run it on auto, and you just pick cool, fan, heat, or off. So another energy-saving feature is the water miser here for the shower. Basically, this is a circulator. So what it does is it circulates the water from the water pump back to this fixture around in a loop. The reason it does that, because you might be camping, someplace where there's drought conditions and you can't waste water. Because when you're heating up water to take a shower, generally it'll just go down the drain till it heats up, right? So what's happening is you're wasting water, and then you're wasting storage space in your gray tank because you're filling it up with water you didn't need to waste. So what you do is you put it in this position, right up to that position right there, and it circulates around and around and around till it heats up. When it heats up, this blue plastic piece will turn kind of beige. That's how you know your water's hot. When that happens, you'll put it back to that position and you use it like a normal shower. So you're just saving water when you're when you're heating it up. It doesn't just go down the drain. It just goes around in a loop, around and around again, okay? It's a cool design. All these, everything I'm telling you about, you have literature in the packet, but you can always go to their websites and look at their manufacturers' videos, their product videos. It's a good way to learn also. Now the toilet, of course, you see the flush pedal right there. All RV toilets, you can't use them dry. By dry, I'm referring to the black tank, which is directly below. So what you do is you get to the campground, you hook up your power and your water. Then you're going to come in here, put 1 dose of chemical in the bowl, and you're going to step on the pedal, and water will come swirling out and wash everything into the black tank. You stand out long enough to put about 1 gallon or so of water in there, and then you can use it. But the thing is, you never use it dry because the smell will be terrible. Plus, it can get clogged up. So you always, anytime you're starting off with a gray-black tank, or with it's not a gray-black tank, with an empty black tank, you got to put chemical and water in it before you use it. Okay. Let's say you're going to stay at the campground for another week, but you had to dump your black tank. Well, then you come in here and repeat the procedure: chemical and 1 gallon of water. Okay. This is a GFCI. You'll see them around. All the plugs are wired through GFCIs, even the one on the outside. Keep that in mind. You got a really nice fan. It's 4-speed. A good thing to know is that, let's say you've got a lot of people over and it's that time of year where you get condensation from your breath. If you just run that on low, it'll pull all that out and you won't have any issues with it. Also, when you use the shower, you always want to run it too, because you want to pull the humidity out from the shower, because these trailers are built super tight now, and you don't want to create a climate where you can get mold or mildew. So you should run it then also. Okay. Let me close that. This, you never want to travel with the table in the up position. You can see it's got 6 black cleats around here. The table sits on that. You just push this lever over to the right, and then you can collapse the table and sit it down on these cleats. Therefore, it's not going to be bouncing around. It's sort of Velcroed there too. So it's a big, heavy table. So if you leave it in the up position with the slide out in, you're going to hit a bump that's going to fly in. And it's going to dent or break something, so you always want it down when you're traveling. All right. This is just stuff. There's the other half of your TV mounting bracket for the outside. This is the hose for the griddle that I told you about. Okay, I'm just looking around to see what we got. Also, I don't see it right here, but there's also a water filter with this trailer. So maybe they've got it. I didn't prep this one. Maybe they got it up in the pass-through compartment, or not in the compartment anyway. That's a water filter wrench there. There's also a water filter that comes with it. So I just want you to know that it does exist. Let me see. It's probably, here it is back here. Is where you'll find it. You can see the canister right there, actually filled with antifreeze. So you can unscrew that and put a filter in. Some people don't use it because they don't drink the water, but the thing is, you can if you're going to use it, before you winterize in the fall, you throw it out, and then after you de-winterize in the spring, you put a new one in. I'll look around to make sure you have got your filter that goes with this wrench. Okay. So this jackknife's flat, of course, you know about that. The bed comes down. Now you got to remember, you can't bring the slide out in with the bed down. You always got to put it back into position. And, the rest is all normal stuff. One thing to remember, let me see if I can pull this forward with one hand. There it is over there. I guess you can sort of see it right there. Here. There's a green light on there, a green LED. There's a button next to it. That's for the signal booster for the digital antenna. You always want that to be green like it is. You can turn it on and off, but if you turn it off, you won't get a good picture. Also, this TV bracket locks into place too, which is good. You want to do that. Here's the rest of the stuff. So this is the water filter here. That's just an extra coax. There's a spatula, some toilet paper holders. Most people use a stand because they don't, it's hard to hit a stud with this. Otherwise, you're just going into 3/16 paneling, and if you got kids around or grandkids, they will pull it out. Doesn't make them bad. It makes them normal. that's a towel rack if you wanted to add it. That's, but we don't put them on. The factory doesn't put them on. It's up to you if you want to use it or not, okay? All right, so I think that covers it. Let me look around real quick here. If I forgot anything, I think I pretty much covered it. So, okay. So first of all, thank you for purchasing your trailer here at National RV Detroit. Second of all, don't forget to inspect your roof every 90 days. You want to go up there, you can have someone else go up there. The roof is totally walkable. Just be very, very careful and check the seals, make sure they're good. When you see some cracking or separation some year down the road, you don't know when it's going to be, that's why you inspect it. Take care of it immediately. So it's that simple. And also, the next thing is that this trailer is winterized right now, so keep that in mind, okay? All right, thank you very much.